Secretary General for UNESCO, Mr. Antonio Maynard, education officers, education planner, invited guests, principals, students, invited guests, members of the media. We welcome you to the launch of the very first Math Olympiad, which we hope will not be the last, but it will be one of many. We know that maths is a problem throughout our school lives. Most children have problems with math, not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but throughout the entire world. And we sought to do something about getting that problem solved. So we came up with this project, and through the general sponsorship of UNESCO, we are here today to signal the launch of such a significant project, which we hope will help the students of our federation to better perform in terms of mathematics. If we were to look back at some great mathematicians like Socrates, he said, the understanding of mathematics is necessary for a sound grasp of ethics. So we are hoping that with the development of mathematics in our students, they would develop strong ethics, and many of the problems that we have in our society, they would, because of the strong development of ethics, those problems will somehow alleviate themselves. We're hoping that through the mathematics, something like that would happen. And Galileo also said that mathematics is the language in which God wrote the universe. So the universe was based, the building of the universe was based on the development of mathematics. So mathematics is the building block of everything that we can say. So mathematics is what is the most, one of the most, if not the most important subject, the most important subject. This project, we hope, we said, will develop strong mathematics skills for students, make them strong problem solvers, of course, develop proper ethics, and with good problem solving, they will stretch it over into other areas of their lives rather than just being solving problems in the classroom. They can use the problem solving strategies that they develop from mathematics to extend throughout their entire lives. So they can, when they encounter other situations, they can use those skills that they develop in the problem solving to apply to other situations. So mathematics, we said, is a building block of a lot of things that happen in the schools, in the student's life. And we're hoping that mathematics would, the use of this project will bring out those skills in the students, and then we would have better math students, not only that, but we'll have better student persons and better individuals as we come to the school system. We'll continue with a brief remark from our sponsor, the Secretary General of UNESCO, Mr. Antonio Maynard.
Let me say from the outset, Mr. Chairman, that UNESCO is not a sponsor, or UNESCO is not necessarily a funding agency. But of course, its projects and programs come with funds, much needed funds, most of the times. In February of 2010, the Ministry of Education, through its education officer in charge of sciences, Mr. Lenrick Lake, submitted a proposal and held discussions with the St. Kitts and Nevis National Commission for UNESCO. The original concept of this project proposal, discussed with Mr. Lake back then, was to popularize and simplify the teaching and learning of mathematics for both teachers and students alike. I am pleased at this time to report that this project, entitled Maths Olympiad, has become a reality, and UNESCO has provided, in this instance, some $67,000 EC to its participation program for 2010-2011 in order to implement this very important initiative. And I hope that most of these funds will trickle down to the students themselves and to a certain extent the teachers, the maths teachers in the various schools. Essentially, capacity building in science, technology, and innovation is in fact a priority area in UNESCO program and budget for its current biennial, where UNESCO believes that competence enhancements in science in particular can be achieved through a major focus on mathematics education and on teacher training in mathematics. A strong mathematics foundation amongst our students and teachers will indeed result in better problem-solving ability among the students, and of course, would also produce better results in the annual overseas examinations. This project comes at a time when mathematics scores continue to drop within our secondary schools on a yearly basis. Teacher training, therefore, will also become a very important component of this project, where mathematics workshops will be held for teachers. We do expect these workshops to be fully interactive and would provide a whole new perspective on teaching maths and would help to motivate and inspire the teachers, giving them confidence to pass on critical skills to the student in a more practical and friendly way. There's no reason in the world why we cannot create geniuses in mathematics in this country. UNESCO is of the opinion that teachers therefore need to be trained on a continuous basis in order to keep up to date with new disciplines and developments if they are to be effective in delivering education successfully in innovative and creative ways. And if we are to be successful in achieving the education for all goals and quality education for all by 2015.
As Mr. Secretary General said, the project was brought to fore by Mr. Lenwick Lake, who at the time was an education officer in the Ministry of Education, and he saw the weakness in mathematics among students, and he came up with ideas to better math scores and to better math students in general.
It's a worthwhile effort, and I'm glad to be here to signal the start of our Math Olympiad project. Mr. Maynard and I have been working quite some time on the UNESCO National Commission. I think many of us have heard about the great Pythagoras. We're well aware of his theorem, but have any of us ever took the time to learn about this great mathematician? The Greek mathematician was born on the island of Samos in 568 BC. He's often described as the first pure mathematician and was an extremely important figure in advancing mathematics. This brown-skinned, brilliant mathematician was held up to high esteem by his counterparts, the Egyptians, who were also brown-skinned as well. The Egyptians never explored the theory of maths, but rather they used trial and error to develop mathematical techniques and principles that helped them to advance their society and to complete some of the greatest building works the world have ever seen. Even Plato and Aristotle admitted that the Greeks, like Pythagoras, owed their mathematical genius to the Egyptians through their work in arithmetic, geometry, and astronomy. As I said, the Egyptians were great problem solvers. They used, as I said, trial and errors to solve problems and had little interest in presenting formula and complex interrelationship between sets and numbers. Today, many students are boggled with the idea that a formula can solve a math problem. The Greek believe otherwise. The approach to problem solving allowed them to create many simple but yet complex formula. It was their trial and error that created formula, not the formula that created the solution. The formula that the Egyptians developed gave us today interesting formulas in calculating areas, volumes, and the design that most engineers and mathematicians have completed in this modern society. We have heard of the pyramids, one of the 8 wonders of the world, again, completed without the advancement of technology as we know it today, and without the rudiments of the computer and our advanced technological society. If the Greeks did it back then with little or no technology, then why haven't we advanced beyond the Greeks? The answer is simple. We have moved away from a society where problem solving is the norm and has become a society in which quick fix is our solution. We must return to how the Greeks started. Trial and error to solve problems instead of formula to solve problems. If we don't invest in the improvements of students in math, there will be simple and very profound implications for the business community, our local community, and more importantly, our quality of life. The supply and demand statistics suggest that we have a shortage of qualified and prominent math teachers. While this is true, the result of this problem is real. Students are leaving schools with little or no understanding of maths concept, and in a workforce that has become increasingly math-dominated, they are being left behind. So if you're a high school math nerd, if you're struggling in math, I urge you to hang in there. The Olympiad program we're about to unveil will serve to continue this love or as a pick-me-up if you're having a hard time in developing math principles. When the project was conceptualized, the overall aim of the project was to make high school students better mathematicians. We hope to do this by first stimulating a passion and love for mathematics amongst the students, to introduce them to important and interesting concepts, but in a fun and fulfilling way, to teach them good problem-solving strategies, and overall to improve their mathematical scores as they leave high school. The project has 4 major activities. The first is the Math Olympiad. Each high school student in St. Kitts will be given an entry form and a copy of the rules and format of the contest. Prior to the start of the Olympiad, participants will be made aware of the nature of the contest. Once the Olympiad is completed, the school with the highest overall score will be deemed Math Olympiad School of the Year, and the student with the higher overall aggregate score will be awarded Math Olympiad Student of the Year. The other activity that we envisage from this project are teacher workshops. The teachers will be engaged in 3 workshops over the life of the project. The workshops are aimed at helping teachers to develop their mathematical skills and also the methods of delivery of the mathematical principles to their students. A math camp will be held at the end of the year in December. The camp will be open to all students and will run for 3 days. During the camp, students will be engaged in fun math activities, math treasure hunts, a nationwide televised math day will be done at the camp, and also students will be awarded prizes for participating in activities held during the camp. A very important aspect of the project is a televised math Olympiad, where schools will compete against schools. Schools will have a chance to compete in various categories of math, and at the end of it all, the school with the highest score will be awarded the Math Olympiad televised competition winner. Finally, in December, like most Olympic competition, there will also be a math decathlon. What is the decathlon? The decathlon is a 10 math event that will pit schools against schools in solving very complex math problems. The schools will compete during this competition over an 8-hour period. During this time, the schools will be actively moving around in a compound to be determined by the Math Olympiad Committee. On completing the 10 events, again, the school with the highest aggregate score will be awarded the Math Decathlon School of the Year. As I started, the Olympiad aim is to improve maths concept in a fun and fulfilling way. A camp, a televised competition, and a monthly math Olympiad will help the students to be engaged in math in a fun-filling way, while at the same time learning the concepts that are so foreign to many of them. The project has 3 main outcomes, and the outcomes are promoting creative ways to deliver math,